You can retire young, but you have a lot of stress during the retirement. Maybe this is not the kind of retirement that you envision, right? So it's extremely important for us to prepare for a stress-free retirement.
This podcast shares personal stories and professional insights to support your financial well-being, but it's not a substitute for personal financial, investment, or legal advice. Everyone's situation is unique. Please seek qualified, independent support that fits your life and goals. The full disclaimer and copyright notice is in the episode notes.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Financial Health Insight podcast. This podcast is all about how to support us to lower money stress, build better financial health so that we can also live well, live better, and spend a lot happier and become a happier spender in the process of learning more about ourselves and spend money, of course. So about a month ago, there was this event called InvestSmart at SC, which is organized by Security Commission Malaysia. This is a flagship investor empowerment and education event that is held annually, actually. Even throughout the MCO period, it was also done virtually as well. Because the mission to continuously to empower individuals and people is extremely important. Especially nowadays, we have a lot of stress, not stress, a lot of scam. And scammers, their business has been doing very well some more, right? Which is not a good thing at all. So I was fortunate enough to be given a slot, I think about 30 minutes to talk about a topic that is close to my heart, which is about retirement. And I decided to share about smart financial moves we can take so that we can prepare better and to create a stress-free retirement. Think about it, if you are retired or you can retire young, but you have a lot of stress during the retirement, maybe this is not the kind of retirement that you envision, right? So it's extremely important for us to prepare for a stress-free retirement. So whether you are at a point of young career or just starting out, or you are a person with a dependent or family or just getting married recently, or you're already like me, mid 40 or closer to retirement age than you want it to be, this talk that I did would be ideal or adequate for you across different life stage, because it's about how do you prepare, and it's also about how do you ensure you are likelier to have a stress-free retirement. So whether you are close to it or far away from it, you will find something beneficial for you to learn or to inspire you at the same time. So what I'll do next for this episode is you will see a recording of the live presentation that I did, which I just extract it from the organizer Facebook live video. But this is the part that only cover my slot. So continue to watch it and maybe share with me in the comment or DM me on my social media whether you learn something beneficial or positive or different perspective on retirement from listening to this 30-minute talk. All right? Let me know how you think.
Purpose. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this presentation is brought to you by Kevin Neoh. Kevin Neoh is a certified financial coach and licensed financial planner with over 15 years of experience helping Malaysians achieve clarity and confidence in their financial journey. All right. So today, the topic, once again, it is a stress-free retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, on the floor, especially, can we give Kevin a round of applause?
Thank you. And good afternoon to everyone. So we are here to talk about how to have a stress-free retirement. Just now you guys get some stock ideas. After that, hopefully you make a lot of money and then you have stress-free retirement. All right? Okay. So I believe it's very important for us to have two-way communication However, I understand that the environment here might make it a little bit challenging, but we will try our best, all right? So I've shared a few. This is some other talk I did recently. So normally I would invite participant or audience to share in their definition, what does it mean for a stress-free retirement? And these are some of the responses and inputs from the floor. But apparently not today. I wish I could hear from you also. But as we can see, some of them say being debt-free, being healthy, have good health or good wealth, or no longer have small kids, equals to able to have a stress-free retirement. Whereas some of them will say that I want to always be able to travel and focus on spiritual activities. So now, the reason I share this is to invite you to think. Every one of us have our own very personal definition of what is a successful or stress-free version called retirement. But what about you? For me, maybe it's able to travel and eat and cafe hopping every day. But for another person, maybe it's just to be able to spend without guilt, enjoy their time with family peacefully, and be healthy all the time. So it's very important for us to understand what matters to us so that we can then create a plan to live this life out. Right? So as you can see, these are other people's definition of stress-free retirement. And from here, maybe we can also notice one thing. It's not just about having a lot of money. Sometimes having a lot of money, but I don't have a good quality of health, then the question becomes, what do I want all this money for? And it can be another way around, of course. Now, I also asked people from the other talk with about 100 over responses, what are the definition of financial success for you? And I invite them to rank among these 7 items. First one, most important. Second, important to the least important. And it's not a surprise for me, but it's good to see that most of the responses rank. Number 1 is not about, if you look here, number 3, rich in assets. Generally means very rich, big pocket. But they are not ranked as the most important thing by these 100 over people 2 weeks ago. And apparently to them, more important than having a lot of money is to be able to not feel anxious when they think about their financial situation and also able to spend guilt-free. I think most of us down there, you are not retired yet. Agree or not? And some of you maybe still many years to the age we think as retirement. But I have the opportunity to work with many people who have entered their so-called retirement. And you know their major problem is not that they don't have money to spend, is they are afraid to spend their money. Because when you work, every month your salary will come in and refresh your account balance. But once you retire, you are not just your job retire, your salary will retire together. And that means, right, every 30 days, we don't get a refresh in our account balance anymore. And this feeling actually drive them to feel very fearful to spend money. And we will say things something like this. Maybe I don't do this first, later lah. And then we think that at 60, we want to start enjoy at 65, 70, so that we don't use up all our money too soon. But something may have happened in between. So from what they rank, living their life on their own terms and having options in life is also equally important. So maybe this is what we want to think about. When you think about retirement, most of the time we were told you have to prepare a lot of money, to the extent that some of us, especially the younger one as well, they are so stressful, they want to sacrifice some of their lifestyle today so that they have more money to save for a life that is 20 or even 30 years later. But maybe sometimes you don't need to just have a lot of money, or maybe it's more important for us to understand how much money we need. So in this session, what I want to achieve is to give you a little bit better in terms of clarity so that you can have a lower stress level, when you think about retirement. And more importantly, you can find a few key steps for you to start making meaningful progress for yourself. Now, I want to share a study called Selective Attention, done about 20 over years ago. So in this photo, in this experiment, people are asked to count how many times the people who wear white shirt pass the basketball around. It's a video about 10, 12 seconds clip. So people will be counting. The correct answer is 15 passes. However, at the end of the clip, the experimenter asked the participant, do you see a gorilla in the video? And which is what most of people, they don't notice that there's a gorilla walk in and walk out from the video later. And this is the unexpected gorilla. Now, the reason most people don't notice this is because you are told to focus on counting number of passes. So something that escapes our attention because we are too focused on something else. Now, the reason I want to share this is that when we are very focused on one thing, it is very possible or likely for us to not notice something else that's going on around us or something else that's more important that require our attention, even though it is happening and it is really taking place. Which is why a lot of time we are conditioned by society, by advertising messages that when you plan for retirement, you need to think about money, money, money. What is the investment you need? What is the return you need? How much you need? How much to spend? How much not to spend? It's all about money. But actually, when you talk about retirement planning, money, while it's important, it's also very important for us to not neglect the human in the whole picture. Because you think about it, is the money here to serve me or I'm here to serve my money? That's a very important question to ask. And the human maybe don't need all the money in the world, but the human will need more clarity about what kind of life means good for me, or having flexibility to change from time to time and have a good balance in doing things. So these are the normal risks or challenges when we talk about retirement. We talk about the good news is we are all living longer, but living longer means you need more money. And we also talk about cost of living is going up, which means we need to spend more to buy the same item, only that it is lesser and smaller. And as we know, healthcare is not cheap, right? Even medical insurance is getting more and more unaffordable and expensive. So if we are living longer, we may even need more money for medical funding. And at the same time, another big risk is about a chance for us to spend too much and spend too fast. That's called overspending. And then nowadays, I think it's also fair to say that another very major threat for our retirement security is called fraud and scam. Fraud and scam, maybe we save, we are very careful with our spending, we spend very little to ensure it can last a lifetime, but a scam can actually wipe out all our retirement and future savings in just a split seconds, which is why it's very crucial to be aware of this. So these are all the major risks and challenges threatening a person who is preparing to retire and also a person who has retired. Now, however, these are problems that majority of it focus around money only. It's not challenges about the person yet. And this is why I want to share some of this with you. Now, these are some of the unspoken challenges about retirement that we don't hear enough about. For instance, loss of identity. When we are working, we are somebody at our work. We are somebody defined by our job title. Now imagine a person who is a manager or vice president. Every day they go to office, they know who are they because they have a job scope, they have a job designation defining who are what they do, who report to them and whatnot. But the moment they retired, everything gone. Sometimes people who retired, the thing they share out is this: I actually don't really know who am I as a person. And that's what I mean by loss of identity. I have a friend who retired about 44 years old. Very young, right? It's a magic number that most people are working towards. Before 45, retire, have a lot of money. The problem is he cannot adjust into his new lifestyle because once he retire, he wake up, to him it's like, I'm just a father, I'm just a husband. Who am I? That's the question he asked. And he's not the only one that I have this kind of conversation with. Now, when we no longer have our job, most of the time we actually maybe sell 8 hours of our time to our company, Monday to Friday. For some people, Monday to Saturday, right? But when the moment we retire, we no longer have a job. Imagine the first few weeks, maybe honeymoon. We can watch Netflix, go sit, rest, do this, do that. However, after sometimes things will become very dull and very too routine, and we will find that our life has lost some meaning already. I have another friend who retired abruptly because of argument with his new supervisor. So she retired at the age of 52 years old. Now, once she retired, she had a very tough time settling in because she become too free. And when she become too free, what she do is every morning she would follow the husband. When the husband go to work, the husband will drop her in one of the major shopping mall in Klang Valley so that she can walk around there and wait until lunchtime. Because lunchtime, she can catch up with her ex-colleagues who work around those areas to have lunch together. So this is what she do to fill up her time. Now, the challenge is, right, her friends, her ex-colleagues have only 1 hour of lunchtime. So she can only stay with them or they can only spend time with her for 1 hour. When they have to rush back to work, my friend again have to confront the question, what do I do next until 5 to 6 p.m. when my husband can pick me up again? So she will spend time in shopping mall. Now, our environment is very influential. When we spend a lot of time in shopping mall, it is also more likely that we unknowingly we happen to spend more money. And this is what also drives her sense of guilt at the same time. Our relationship with people is also something that is less speak about, but is very importantly affecting our quality of retirement life. Imagine a husband who is not at home most of the time because of work, but now retired already, stay at home. It's almost like everything the wife does, right? The husband want to try to provide contribution and offer input and advice. Now, it's out of good intention. But in the eye of the home minister, the wife, it becomes like, why are you suddenly sticking your nose into how I do things? You know, so it creates friction for people at the same time. So these are all the unspoken challenges about the human being that's not talked about. So retirement is never just about preparing enough money. Another thing that's equally important, remember just now I shared, we live longer and longer. Now, that's a good thing. But then the not so good thing is that living longer is called lifespan. Our lifespan is getting longer and longer, but we don't really have quality health span. Lifespan is how long I can live. Health span is how many years I am healthy. So Malaysia, this is from a few months ago. Malaysia last year's statistic. We expected to live averagely to 76 years old. However, most of us only have about healthy life for up to 67, which means the last 9 years, what happened? we cannot have good health. Maybe some of us are unfortunately maybe bedridden. Maybe we cannot walk a lot. Maybe we thought maybe I'm 65, 70, I can then go travel more. But maybe at this is the age that I can no longer walk on my own. And what happened to my travel more plan? You know? So it's important to acknowledge that while we may be living longer, it is also truly and very important for us to ensure we can stretch our healthy lifespan as long as well. Otherwise, being alive but not being healthy may not be a blessing. Agree or not? And this is the conventional life model. And it's very important that I touch on this. We were always told that you study and then you work and then you retire and have fun and enjoy life, right? And then you wait for time to come. This is the old or conventional life model we have been told by grandparents, by parents and great-grandparents and school. Nothing is wrong with this, right? Most of us come through here. At young time, we can only study and learn, right? And then we work. Now, I think the problem is here. We are told to just work, then only you can enjoy. What happens if I work before I become 60, finally can enjoy? I pass away already. Or I become coma. Or I become totally incapacitated. Then my life will be just about study, work, that's it. Do you want that? No one wants that, right? That's why none of us raise our hand. Very good. So the real retirement risk is not about not having money, not having enough money, or not having enough money to spend. I think the real problem, the real big challenge is about I'm still alive and healthy, but no more money, or my life is ending, but I have a lot of money left. Now, ideally, you don't want one of these. Both of these also we don't want. And to avoid any of these happen, because both are actually sad ending. To avoid any of them happen, we need to give ourselves permission to live well today and give ourselves permission to spend a little bit and live a little bit better today. So the model that we should be thinking about is not the old one. It's this. Study, because we already grow to past the 20-year stage. We already study. Work, retire, but change to this. Study, work, enjoy a bit. Then maybe study again, upgrade your skill, learn something new again. Because let's be honest, the world is changing, right? Then go back to work, then enjoy, then go and study it again. Because based on other study, it's very likely that us here, we can in fact live until 100 and beyond 100 years old. It's not impossible. Now, imagine if your life is until 100 years old. And that means today, a 50 years old person is only at halfway line. It's very different compared to last time. Someone may live to 60 and pass away naturally because the lack of advancement in medicine and technology. So for a very long life, right, the society is changing. The way people do things are changing. It's very important we don't forget to study and learn new things again and again and again. So a new life requires us to keep on reinventing ourselves. Because job will be changing, job landscape, market, all will change. So to really retire is not to plan for 20, 30 years later. It's to try to find out what's important to you, what are the things you want to do, and do it today. Don't wait. Don't wait. Because if I'm right, there's a clock on our head one, just that we cannot see. And that clock is always counting down. And the truth is, I don't know what is the number on my clock. Maybe it's 1 day, maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 40 years. So I should know what is important to me and try to live that life now. Don't wait until 20 years later because I might not have the chance to wait until that. So I need to ask myself, what kind of health I want, what kind of activity I want to do that can help me promote good health, what kind of relationship I want to have with people. Are there any friends that I want to talk to or I want to connect with? Then maybe I want to do it now. I want to try now. Okay, so to plan a retirement that makes you happy, the key is try to understand what kind of retirement lifestyle will make you happy and experiment it today. Do it now. Maybe you thought you would like to do gardening. Okay, instead of waiting until you are 60 years old to try and then realize that, hey, I don't really like it, why not you try now? Try now. You don't have to find 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 month to do gardening. Try 1 hour. If you like it, you continue. If 1 hour you realize that, hey, 2:30 is not for me, then you know that you need to move on to find a new activity that you really like. All right? So we don't save, hoping that 20 years later I can enjoy the activity I like and maybe cannot do it anymore. Maybe realize that I don't really like it. Or maybe that activity is no longer popular already. So do it today. Don't wait. Now, the problem is doing it today is how do we keep a balance? How do I do things today without compromising or sacrificing my future? And this is where it's important to talk about financial health and something very simple about money management. Now, I'm going to share this very quickly. Every one of us have income now, especially when we are working. Some of us don't need to work, also have income. That's good. Now, the purpose we have income is to allow us to pay for expenses and obligations and commitments that matters to us, that we need it to have today, right? Now, the goal is can spend. If we make income, don't spend, what's the money for, right? Spend, but always try to keep a balance, no matter how you spend. All right. Now, having balance or surplus is so important because without this, we can never build asset. We can never build our savings. Okay. So some asset, when we have it, it will add more income to us. Okay. Now, at the same time, it's also very possible we add asset saving. We also end up getting loans, especially if you buy a car, if you buy a house, you have loans. So your loans will increase your future expenses. So the goal is always, no matter what happened there, we want to strive to create surplus or balance for ourselves. Now, why do we need to have asset? It's because the goal is not have asset. The goal is to have more asset than more loans. Because my asset can grow a lot, but my loan also grow a lot, then it doesn't make sense for me as well. So the key goal is to have surplus so that I can build and grow my net worth. Net worth is everything I own, pay off everything I owe. The balance is my net worth, what I really have financially. It's because I need my net worth to help me to pay for all the major expenses and future things that I want to spend the money on. All right? Because some of the things I want to do, I want to pay, but it's not today. So sometimes my income is not enough. So I need to have a positive net worth so that I can be able to pursue my goals later and even prepare for changes in life. So this is the important and very basic equation most of us have actually. Now, the problem is life, right? It's not straight line. Everything, many things will happen to us throughout our lifetime. Even some of the time, one day can have many accidents, right? So these, all the events can happen that can interrupt all these things. It can take away our income. It can increase our expenses. It can destroy our net worth, therefore destroy our dreams. So therefore, it's very important to build a protection layer above that, protecting everything down here that's so important to us in the form of having emergency savings, in the form of having protection products, and also make sure we follow the trend and learn things as we go. Otherwise, lack of knowing something or knowledge can become a very costly thing for us. Of course, we can do all this planning and then we still pass away or bedridden. Therefore, it's in financial planning, we also help or encourage our client to think about the situation when even we do all the preparation already, we still fail to protect what's important to us. So you need to have a distribution plan. If you have EPF, we do nomination. If you have insurance, we do nomination. If you don't have, we write a will or wasiat or whatnot. So these are the plans we put in place to ensure that if all these things still hit us and we are no longer around, can no longer make decision, all these things still be managed and passed to the right person. Okay, so those were the basic in terms of having good financial health, that if you want to experiment and do your mini retirement now, do not do it gung-ho all the time until you jeopardize your future security. So in the following section, I'll share about few ideas on how do we spend guilt-free and to have savings to prepare more for retirement. Now, I use a food as an example because I'm a person who like to eat. And if you look at my body, you will know. So like, okay. So if we go to eat, right, if you are given a big plate, it will be very likely that we will put more food on it because the plate is big. But if you are given a smaller plate, it's more likely that we will put a bit less food because it looks full already. Okay? So that's the concept. Now, coming back to money management, if we put all the money inside same account, we jump it up together, it will look like a big plate also. Because when we want to spend money, you look at your bank account, wow, that's a lot of money. It feels like I can spend, I can afford to do all these things I want. But sometimes, because the money is mixed up, maybe some of the money is not for spending one. Maybe this money is for end of the year when my car insurance expire, or when my big major service for the car is due 2 months later. But the money is in my account now. So to help us to have better financial stability, we want to practice having a smaller plate in terms of our money as well. Second is have the sequence right. If I'm going to eat buffet, right, I don't go and eat noodle and rice the moment I go there. I will eat maybe the more expensive things, the proteins, then only I will eat the carbohydrate heavy food. That's because, right, the sequence is very important. If I eat all the cheap food first, I will feel full already. I can no longer put in food that are high in nutrition or expensive anymore. So when it comes to managing our money, the sequence is also very important. Set up accounts that help you to pay your fixed bills and save your money first. The balance is what can really be spent on anything I want. Okay, so that's a sequence. And also avoid temptation. If I have a client, right, who have problem with shopping app, so she would delete the shopping app during the period where you see a lot of advertisement and promotion, and she only install it during a non-peak season. While she don't have discount on the things she buy, but actually she bought and spent a lot more during discount period. So it makes sense for her to do like that. Now, okay, this one run a bit. So now the smaller plate concept is doable for our financial management through using a budgeting app. When you have a budgeting app, for example, on this screen, let's say I want to spend just 800 for food in the whole month of October. That's my small plate for food already. So whenever I want to spend money on food, I will be reminded that I have intention to spend 800 on this month. And so far, I spent 750. So I have 50 ringgit more to go. And as an example, to remind myself. And then a good budgeting app will also tells you where are you spending more money on, so that we can ask ourselves, am I spending money on things that really makes my life better, or on things that makes me happy? Sustainably one, okay? So that's what we can use budgeting app to help us to implement smaller plate and also proper and right sequence, and to reflect whether we are using money at the right place or not. Okay, this one, very interesting, just quickly. If I have two persons here, they start at the same time, one save, they both earn 3,000. One of them save 10% of salary. The other one will save 30%. The one who save 10% will earn 10% return every year. The one who save 30% very conservative, just put in bank account, earn 4% only. So the question is, who will have more money after 10 years? Now the answer is the person who save more will have more money, even though this guy earns 6% more every year for 10 years. Amazing, right? So the key is not to find investment that grow a lot only. The key is to also make sure you save as your income increase as well, because your savings rate is more important than how fast your investment grow. And investment grow fast or slow is beyond our control. But how much we want to save is within our control. Now, you may say 10 years, but if 20 years, this guy will win. Also no. Even 20 years, the person who earn less will have more money. All right? 30 years, yes, this guy will win. Because 30 years is a long time to go. 30 years, 10% every year is not easy also. Now, but I also check for this one to hit this amount in 30 years, it's not impossible also. She just need to change after 10 years, change to something that give her 5.6. For another 20 years, she will have 385 also. After the 20 years, 7.2. For just 10 years, she will also catch up. All right, which is a lot easier compared to 10% every year for 30 years. So this just to show you, saving amount matters more than the return of investment. Okay, this one I touched already. How much you want to spend, you need to find out. So this one, last one. When we do retirement planning, you want to know like when you want to retire, to how long, and then how much a month you want to spend, and what are the assets you have. And you want to know by what age my money will finish, so that you know based on this lifestyle, based on this amount I'm saving, whether am I on track to have enough to live until this age or not. If not enough today, I still young, I still have time, I can do my plan differently, I can change things again and again. Okay, so I think that's all I want to share. And lastly, I just want to share the things that I shared with you guys just now. It's not available. It's something available in Malaysia. And if you want to try, you can try to come here, keep a picture, don't need to download, take a picture. You can later try to download. And this is an app that you can allow you to set smaller plate, plan your spending priority, and also use retirement calculator to track your retirement preparedness. And with that, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we give Kevin a round of applause, yeah, for the very knowledgeable sharing about retirement. And of course, I have a Aeon voucher to give away. So I have a question. Kevin, do you have a question for them? Because I have some prizes to give. Okay, so you were talking about the big picture, right? So there's an equation inside, yeah? So can anybody tell what is the equation to Kevin? Anybody? I'll give you some hints. Income minus, yes. Sorry?
Income minus expenses equals surplus.
Correct.
All right, awesome.
Thank you for listening.
Awesome. So thank you, Kevin, for the sharing as well. Means they're paying attention, huh? All right. So thank you so much. So please claim your prize over here, yeah? All right. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, and of course, this is all brought to you once again by the InvestSmart Fest 2025. So ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so how do you find that? I hope you find something useful for yourself, and more importantly, you have something that you find or you feel allow you to see what is the simple first next step that you can take. Sometimes we want to wait for conditions to be perfect so that we can do the best thing we can do. But you know what? The secret of getting started is just to get started. And to get started, we don't want to think about the super perfect thing. We want to ask ourselves, what can I do next? Or what should I do next? And once you have that answer, you just go and do that next step. And once you completed the next step, you will then see a next step, another next step after another next step. And this is how you progress, right? So the next step don't have to be, for example, if you want to start prepare for a better stress-free retirement, you don't have to start to save money. The next step is start to maybe open an account for you to put money in that is prepare you for emergency to create financial stability. Because if you're not stable, you may not feel confident to prepare for other goals as well, right? So the next step can be as simple as take out a paper, write down my income, write down all the expenses I can identify, and this is how much I can feel comfortable to set aside. That's the next step. So a next step don't have to be overcomplicated step. It just need to be as simple as possible. Okay, so I hope you found something useful from this episode, and remember to share and like. I will also want to be more proactive in talking about the podcast to more people because I have got really a lot of feedback recently, especially when you stop rolling out new episodes. So people asking and people telling me what they like, what they learned from it. So I'm thinking also about new story or new way to present or to share more actual story that can help empower and inspire more people to look at money in a different lens and also to take back control from money. Okay, so with that, that's the end of this episode, and I look forward to more insightful episode for you guys also. But if you have any ideas or any requests or any feedback, do let me know too. Okay, bye bye.